Welcome to Speak Real British English, Language, Culture and Travel. I'm your guide, and in this course we'll learn how to speak like a real local in the UK. Not the robotic textbook way, but how people actually speak day to day. We'll cover slang, accents, culture, football, humour and even travel advice so you can confidently speak, understand and enjoy everything British. This course is great for travellers, ESL learners, fans of British shows or students planning to live or visit the UK. Let's get started. You're not just going to study English grammar here. This is a living language course. You'll explore football chants, local dialects, humour and learn the kind of English you actually hear in the UK. It's for anyone who wants to truly fit in, connect and not sound like they read from a textbook. Real lessons from real Britain. Every section of this course gets a little harder. You'll start with basic slang and cultural rules and finish with deep accent understanding and real conversations. Watch the videos, pause, repeat when needed, and complete the quizzes, download the PDFs and use the map to track where you've learned language from. Make sure to download the free PDFs included in each module. These include phrase books, slang guides, city maps and football fan sheets. These will help you study offline, practice with friends and use what you've learned if you visit the UK. So hi, I'm Tony. I'm born in Birmingham. I'm native English. I've got a TEFL certificate and I've taught English all around the world. I've worked in customer service and I've taught students online and I've helped travellers explore the UK. I've built this course to be fun, full of culture and based on real Britain. You're going to enjoy the course. I'm not quite used to doing this, so maybe you'll see a bit of nerves, but the course itself will be better than me doing the video, so just concentrate on the course, I would say. Okay then, so let's be honest, right? Nobody in the UK says, "How do you do?" Unless they're acting in a movie from the 1800s. Real conversations sound more like, "Alright mate, you good? How's things?" In this video we break down the big difference between formal textbook English and natural spoken English. We'll also explore casual greetings, real responses, and how to sound like you're part of the conversation, not a language student. Try to repeat after me. How are you? What you should be saying really is, "You alright?" So the next one that you normally probably hear is, "I'm doing fine," where really you should say, "Not bad, you?" Right, let's go into the fun stuff. British slang. This is where English really gets alive. You'll hear these words on the street, in pubs, on TV, and at football matches. Here are some top real-life slang and expressions you'll want to know. Repeat after me and try using them in your own sentences. So these are everyday British slang must-know terms. So number one is cheeky. This one means playfully rude or smart. So an example would be, "Let's grab a cheeky pint after work." Number two, knackered. This one means extremely tired. Example, "I was knackered after that shift." Number three, mate. which means friend. So an example would be, all right, mate, how's it going? Number 4 would be, blimey. And this is a surprise or disbelief. So an example would be like, blimey, that's expensive. Number 5 would be dodgy. And dodgy means suspicious or low quality. So an example would be something like, this kebab looks a bit dodgy. Number 6, gutted. Gutted means devastated or disappointed. So an example would be, I was gutted we lost that match. Number 7 is, that's rubbish. So rubbish, which means trash or nonsense. So I just gave you an example, but I'll give you another one. That movie was absolute rubbish. Number 8, faff or faffing, which means wasting time or being disorganized. So someone might say, stop faffing about and get ready. Number 9, you might use this one a lot, is loo. Now the loo is the toilet. So someone may say, where's the loo in this place, you know? Another one guys might want to know more than ladies is fit. Fit means attractive, but on this example it's saying that guy at the gym is proper fit. So that was a lady saying it this time. And number 11 is chuffed. Now chuffed means pleased or proud. So an example would be, I'm well chuffed with my test results. Number 12 is gobsmacked. So gobsmacked means shocked or amazed. So you would use it like, I was gobsmacked when I saw the price. Gobsmacked. So 13 is skint. So it sounds like skin with a T on the end. And this one means broke or no money. So maybe it's one you remember. And an example would be, can't go out tonight, I'm skint. This next one, number 14, you'll hear a very lot in certain areas, you know. It says taking the piss. So taking the piss means mocking or joking around. So you might be walking past a couple of people talking and you might hear one say, are you taking the piss? It can either be used in a happy way or a sad way. It's used both ways. Number 15, sorted, which means it's been handled, it's been resolved. There's an example, no worries, it's all sorted. So now we're going to come on to some phrases from TV and football culture. So the first one is on the lash. So we'll continue. Yeah, so on the lash means out drinking. Drinking as in alcohol drinking. So an example would be, we went on the lash after the game. Football related, you know. Number 17, mugged off. So mugged off can mean tricked or disrespected. So someone might be angry and they'll go, no, well yeah, he got mugged off on live TV, you know. Banter is number 18. Fun teasing or jokes. So banter could be used in a way like, it's just a bit of banter, mate. Like, just calm down. It's just a bit of banter, you know. Like, that's how it's used. Number 19 is nicked. So that's like the name Nick with an ED. And nicked means stolen or arrested. So an example would be, someone nicked my bike. he got nicked by the police. That's what it means, stolen or arrested. Number 20 is wellies. Now wellies, you probably will never guess this one, but wellies are rubber boots. So an example might be, bring your wellies, it's muddy out here. Number 21, kerfuffle. A kerfuffle is a small fuss or commotion. So an example might be, there was a kerfuffle outside the pub, which is like, like a bit of a arguing sort of stuff, fiddling around. 22 is bugger all. Bugger all means nothing. It actually means nothing. So someone might say, what did you do today? And then you might reply, I did bugger all day. Yeah, so it's a bit of a tricky one. And number 23 is throw a wobbly. Throw a wobbly means get angry unexpectedly. So an example of this one would be, he threw a wobbly when the ref blew the whistle. Number 24, this is quite old, this one is naff. Naff means lame or unfashionable. So an example would be, this jumper's a bit naff. Yeah. 25, I think it's the final one, bits and bobs. So bits and bobs means maliciousness, small things. So example might be, just picking up a few bits and bobs. So that there's 25 different phrases and slang words that you can use, and I've gave you some ways to use them. So a challenge could be, try saying one of the slang phrases today naturally. Start mixing 2 or 3 into your regular vocabulary each week. Maybe some of them stood out to you more than others, so the ones that stood out or mean more to you than others, try and use them. And if you're ready to continue, we'll move on to the next section. So here we're going to understand the big vocabulary and spelling differences between UK and US, so you don't get confused like chips and crisp. We'll get into it now. So English is spoken around the world, but it's not always the same. I don't know if you've noticed, but British and American English often use different words for the same thing, meaning. Here's a few examples. So in the US we'll say trousers, where in the US they'll say pants. In the UK we'll say crisp, but in the US they'll say chips. In the UK we'll say chips, and in the US they'll say fries. In the UK we'll say lift, and in the US they'll say elevator. In the UK we'll say football, but in the US they'll say soccer. And also some spellings change too. There's quite a few, but just a few for an example. Like British spellings using colour with a U in the word colour, not just COLOR. Then there's organised. We use a S and they use a Z. Then there's theatre, and it's spelt different both ways. None of them are the same. And these are small but important, especially when speaking or writing in the UK. So this is a fun intro into regional accents in the UK. Understand why British English sounds different depending on the city or region. So welcome to the world of British accents. You've probably noticed that not all Brits sound the same. In fact, sometimes we can't even understand each other. From London to Newcastle to Manchester to Glasgow, every region has a unique voice, vocabulary and rhythm. Some are easier to follow, others take time. In this section we'll break down the main accents you're likely to hear, and we'll give you the tools to understand them, including slang, pronunciation and cultural clues. We'll also have a fun guess the accent assignment to test your ears. Let's get started. So here we're going to learn how to understand and imitate British accents from London to Birmingham and Manchester, 3 of the most spoken in the UK. Let's start with London. So London's multicultural, they're known as Cockneys, and it's famous for rhyming slang like apples and pears, which means stairs. T's are often dropped, as in the word water, and they say water. They've got phrases like, "You having a laugh? Innit?" You know. And then you've got my accent, and I'm from Birmingham, and we're called the Brummies, and they say we're slower, with a rounder tone. Words stretch. For an example, I like, or I can't even say that one. I like it. Often misunderstood, but warm and friendly. Phrases like "alright, bab" and "yeah, I'm alright" are from different parts of the West Midlands. And then you've got Mancunians, which are people from Manchester, and they're energetic, fast and slightly nasal. Phrases like "buzzing, buzzing," which means excited. And then a cool and good one is "sound." You've probably heard Oasis say this one, I'm not sure. And they have unique vowels, like instead of boss, they'll pronounce it buzz. But there's a top tip here: don't worry about copying these perfectly, just listen and try repeating. Understanding is the first goal. So now we're going to learn the sounds, the slang and the style of Scouse, Geordie and Glaswegian accents. These are strong but full of character. So now on to the 3 most unique and fun accents in the UK. So now we've got Scouse, which is fast, bouncy and nasal. And they've got phrases like calm down, and "gives a go," which means let me try. Another one is K sound becomes softer or swallowed. It's quite hard to pick up until you experience. If you can try and get over there or listen to some programs, you will. It'll take you a bit of time and you'll get to understand it a bit more. The next one is Geordie, and Geordie are Newcastle people that are from the north of the country, and they have a strong, warm, sing-songy rhythm, and they have phrases like "why aye man," which means yes of course, and "canny," which is good. Pronunciations like house becomes hoose and town becomes toon. I've lived up there and it's exactly like this. In Glasgow, Scotland, they're called Glaswegians, and one of the fastest and thickest UK accents. They've got phrases like "aye," which means yes, and "dinna kin," which means I don't know, or "pure," which is very, and it can be tricky at first, but don't panic, you just need to practice. A top tip would be to, like, as I said, watch short clips from interviews with people from these cities on YouTube, try catching up and experience it. Come and visit the country and experience it also would be a good advice. So welcome to the UK. the first place you'll practice English is at the airport. Let's go over the real conversations you'll face. So let's say immigration questions. They'll say to you, what's the purpose of your visit? How long will you be staying? You need to say something like, I'm here for holiday, tourism, to visit friends. Don't just say, I don't know, because then that will just cause problems. So the next one you'll meet will be customs, the baggage claim, and they may say, is this your bag? Do you have anything to declare? So you need to listen for these sentences and practice and listen and recognize the sentences. The border office tips, they may say, speak clearly, stay calm, always say please and thank you. So repeat after me. I'm staying for 2 weeks on holiday. Here's my return ticket. I don't have anything to declare. These are some basics that will help you get through the airport. So master polite and practical ways to ask for directions in the UK and understand the slang locals use when giving them. So imagine you've just left the airport, now what? You'd need to find your hotel, a train station or a cafe. Here's how to ask for directions politely in the UK. Excuse me, could you tell me how to get to blah blah blah? Or is it far from here? Another way may be, is it walking distance? Don't say, where's the thing? Always be specific. Common answers you'll hear will be things like, it's just round the corner. Go straight, then take the first left. It's a 5-minute walk. Yeah. It's next to the big Tesco's. And a tip might be, don't always know the exact direction. You know, Brits don't always know the exact direction, but they'll point you in the right way. So just ask nicely anyway. So now we're going to understand real English used on UK transport, buying tickets, asking for help, and riding the bus, train or taxi, or like a local. So you'll be in the UK, public transport's common, especially in the big cities. Here's some key phrases you'll need. So if you were at the train station, here's some phrases you may need. Where can I buy a ticket to Birmingham, please? What time is the next train to Manchester? Does this train stop at Oxford? If you were going to do some bus travel, some phrases you might want to know is, does this bus go to the city centre? Can I use contactless? How much is it to the high street? If you're going to get in a taxi, like an Uber, what's the other one? I forgot it now, but yeah, taxi or Uber. You can you take me to this address, please? How long will it take? How long? Can I pay by card? You should practice these. Is this seat taken? Excuse me, is this the right platform? Another one will be, can I get a return to Leeds, please. So learn how to order at cafes, pubs and restaurants in natural British English. Understand menu slang, politeness and rules. So, ready to eat? Let's practice what to say when ordering food or drinks in the UK. In a restaurant or cafe, hi, could I get a coffee please? Can I see the menu? I'll have the vegan option, thanks. What's the soup of the day? So if you was in a cafe, you might say, they may say to you actually, to eat in or to take away. This means sit inside or to take it with you when you're going on your journey. If you're in a pub, they may say, pint of lager please. Or you may hear someone say, whose round is it? This is British slang for who's paying. It's very important. A politeness tip, always say please and thank you. And probably you hear English people always using this. This is the right way to speak English. So some British menu slang. So you might hear chips, which means fries, crisp, which is a bag of potato snacks, bangers and mash. Bangers and mash are sausages and mashed potato. You've probably heard of this one, a full English, which is a big cooked breakfast. So repeat after me. Could I have a vegan burger, please? And another one, cheers. This is used to say thanks in a pub. So there's a few interesting ones there. As I said before, just practice in your own time, practice in the mirror, record yourself, send it to your partner, to your children, and get some feedback and see how it sounds. So learn useful phrases for shops, markets, and asking for help, and polite, friendly British English. So in the shops, in British shops, people are polite but short. So here's how to shop and ask for help naturally. Common phrases in shops are like, excuse me, how much is this? Do you have another size in this? Where's the changing room, please? And can I pay by card? Asking for help is also needed a lot. So an easy way to say things would be, sorry to bother you, but could you help me, please? Is there a vegan version of this, you know? And a top tip would be, don't shout or wave, make eye contact and say, excuse me first. Practice these. You hear all the noise? I'm just looking, thanks. I'll take it. Can I return this if it doesn't fit? British culture, shops usually close early than in other countries, and on Sundays it's limited hours. That's just a tip for you. Master polite and practical ways to ask for directions in the UK, and understand the slang locals use when giving them. So imagine you just left the airport, right? Now what? First you need to find your hotel, a train station or a cafe. Here's how to ask for directions politely in the UK. Excuse me, could you tell me how to get to? Is it far from here? Is it walking distance? Don't say, where's the thing? Always be specific. Common answers that you'll hear if you ask these sort of questions will be, it's around the corner. Go straight and then take the first left. It's a 5-minute walk. It's next to the big Tesco. I'm saying them a little bit faster than normal so that you can get used to how they will say it on the street. You can rewind back and listen again if you like to. A top tip would be, Brits don't always know the exact direction, but they'll help you anyway. So just ask nicely. Right, so we're going to learn how to make small talk, join group chats or meet new people, all in casual, friendly British English. So making friends in the UK isn't always instant, but small talk is always the way in. Starting conversations, this could be as simple as, hi, I'm Tony, nice to meet you. Are you from around here? This place is great, have you been here before? And there may be some small talk topics would be the weather. So you might say, lovely day today, isn't it? You know, or you could say something about the TV. Did you watch the match last night? Or a food and drink question might be, what's good here? You know, like if you're in a restaurant. If you join in a group, you might say, do you mind if I join you? What do you all do? That's a good way to engage with a group of people. But what not to do is, don't talk about money, politics or religion until you get to know people, because they are touchy subjects anywhere in the world. Don't interrupt. Brits prefer turns in conversations, and so, you know, wait for them to stop talking, then you take your turn. So what you should practice is, try practicing this actually. It's been great chatting. That's like coming to the end of a conversation. Let's grab a coffee sometime. There's another nice way to say, I like you, well I've got to go, but I like you so much we can go and have a drink. I don't mind being around you. It's making someone feel like you want to spend time with them. And then there's add me on WhatsApp. This one can be used both ways. Sometimes someone may say this to you just to get rid of you, you know. But these are all ways that you can communicate in England. So tour the UK through its cities, learn key expressions, accents, and what makes each place unique for English learners. So let's explore the UK, not just the places, but the language that lives there. Cities equal different English styles. London, multicultural, slang heavy. Manchester, fast, urban slang. The sound equals cool, like buzzing means excited. Birmingham, warm and slow. Yeah, I'm alright means are you okay? Why this matters? When you travel or speak to Brits online, you'll hear all these variations. Try to link the languages to the location and the learning becomes real. Top tip, watch short clips from people in each city. Try typing in YouTube Brummie accent interview or Mancunian slang explained. Geordie girl orders food. You'll see how accents shape conversations. Right, so we're going to learn British expressions connected to landmarks like Big Ben, Stonehenge and the Shard. perfect for tourists and English fans alike. So let's learn English that connects to real UK places. This makes your trip feel local and your English unforgettable. For example, London. Let's meet Big Ben, which means Westminster Clock Tower. Liverpool. Let's take a selfie at the Caravan Club. Newcastle. It's tune time. Tune means town. Said with a Geordie accent, tune. British expressions for real places. Like watching paint dry is a British Museum jokes. It's grim up north. It's humour about bad weather in the northern towns. Mind the Gap is from the London Underground train system. Try using these while making a photo diary or a plane or a travel plan. Now we're going to learn how people from different parts of the UK see themselves and how that affects their slang, their humour and their conversation. So Britain is small, but full of regional pride. Common UK stereotypes. Londoners, they say they're busy, they're confident, and they say in it. Brummies, which are Birmingham people, they're friendly, they say bab, like babe. No, they say babe, like bab. Said it the wrong way around. Scousers, which are Liverpool people, they're cheeky and fast talkers. Geordies, which are from Newcastle up north, they're warm and they've got fun accents. Northerners, they say it straight. Southerners, they're a bit more posh. They say sometimes, some people say most of the time. You go there and check it out for yourself. But remember, these are stereotypes, not always true, and it helps to understand them, especially if people joke about where you're from or where they're from. So for slang, accent, identity, it equals true British English. What you could do is watch some scenes from Gavin and Stacey, which is a Welsh Essex cultural clash. Quite interesting. You'll get into that. Another one might be Peaky Blinders, and that was from my city, Birmingham. Another classic that the older generation was watching is a program or series called Coronation Street, and that was based in Manchester. So do some research if you really want to get to the bottom of the language and be able to fit in. You need to do all the research that's been given to you. So learn key football slang, chants and match day vocabulary to understand British fans and speak like one. If you want to sound British, football is the way to go. Common football slangs would be like, he bottled it, which means he lost his nerve. Pace on the wing means a fast player on the side. Gaffer, the gaffer is the coach or the manager. And 0-0 means it's a 0-0 score. A match day phrase might be, we smashed them, that ref's blind. Or let's get stuck in, which is encouragement to fight for the ball. You normally hear the football team singing different songs, and some of the chants you may hear are, who are ya, who are ya, and that's mocking the other team. A suggested YouTube search term would be something like Premier League best chants or top 10 football slang explained in UK. Another one might be British football fan reactions. And what you need to do is Pick yourself a team and write a chant using a phrase like, "We are the lads from," and see how it goes for you. So now we'll discover how football teams and cities are connected, and how fan slang changes across the UK. So football teams equal local identity in the UK. So big clubs and their slangs are, for example, Liverpool is "Allez, allez, allez" with a Scouse accent. Manchester United is "Glory, glory, Man United." Newcastle United is "Tsunami" in a Geordie accent. West Ham is "I'm forever blowing bubbles." That's what they say. And fan language changes by each city, so it teaches you the accent and the slang at the same time. And you'll hear different bants, which is like banter, like "We're gonna walk the league," which means we will win easy. I mentioned this one before, "The ref bottled it," which means the referee was scared. And to get a better understanding of these things, you could go on YouTube, search Geordie fans chanting, or you could put Scousers versus Manx fan rivalry. It might get a bit messy though. And West Ham fans singing forever, blowing bubbles. And what you need to do is pick your activity, your team, and try using two slang expressions about them in a sentence and see how that goes for you. So learn how British fans use humour and banter, a friendly way of teasing and showing passion for your team. Banter equals the fun side of football. English. What's banter? Banter's a friendly teasing but not insulting, and it's based on rivalry mistakes or funny moments. So for example, "He couldn't score in an empty net." Your team hasn't won since 1900s. So banter shows friendship, but tone is key. Body language tip: smile, laugh, nod. It's not serious, but don't cross the line. Avoid racism, obviously, aggression, or anything personal. Just stick to the football. If you watch on YouTube, you may search British football banter compilations or funny football chants UK, Premier League fan jokes. And what you want to do is write two banter lines you might say after your team wins or loses, and see how that goes for you. So we're going to explore the most important historical events that still influence British life, holidays and everyday language today. So let's start with time travel across British history fast. So some quick facts would be: in 1066, the Battle of Hastings, the Norman Conquest. The Tudor era, Henry VIII and his 6 wives. Victorian age, big growth in British Empire. And the 20th century, World War II and the Blitz, important to modern humour and strength. So some of the famous holidays that we have in England are Bonfire Night, November the 5th, and here we remember the 5th of November. Guy Fawkes tried to blow up Parliament, and if you go to school in England, you learn a lot about this. Remembrance Day is November the 11th, and that's when you see people wear the red flower, and that's poppies to honour soldiers. You might think, why does this matter? Well, the British people often use references to history in jokes or phrases. Like, it's not exactly the Blitz, mate, meaning don't overreact, you know, it's not so serious. Some suggestions to watch would be like Horrible Histories UK, search that, and that's funny history for all ages on YouTube. Another one you might want to check on YouTube is History of Britain in 10 minutes, and this is a YouTube short summary of history of Britain, you know. Go check it out if you really want to embrace yourself in the language. Do the research as well, and it all comes together better in your head if you understand the full project of what we're learning here. So now we're going to learn British legends like King Arthur, Robin Hood, Stonehenge, and how they shaped UK identity and English learning. So what makes British people feel British? Often it's the same old stories. Legends will still mention. So there's King Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table. Robin Hood, he stole from the rich and gave to the poor. And then you have Stonehenge, which is mysterious rocks in the countryside. They say it's still a mystery. These stories live in jokes, names of pubs, films, and slang like pull a Robin Hood. That means take something for a good reason. Round table meeting means a group meeting. To get better understanding of some of these phrases we've just gone through, you might want to watch something like BBC Merlin, and that's about King Arthur, or Robin Hood movie scenes, and that's a look for the UK version of the Robin Hood if you do try to look for that one. And what is Stonehenge? And that's a short documentary or a clip, and you will get a lot from this and understand even why you may even understand some of the jokes a lot clearer now. Discover the funny, strange and proud moments that make British people unique and help you remember the culture. So we're going to make learning fun, and here are some of the facts you'll never forget. So here's some fun facts. British people drink 100 million cups of tea a day. You can't die in Parliament. Yes, it's illegal. The Queen has 2 birthdays. A village in Wales has a name with 58 letters. Here's some celebrations. The royal weddings and the jubilees, these are big events on TV in England. Notting Hill Carnival, and that's a huge cultural street party. Glastonbury is the biggest music festival in Europe, so get your wellies out if you want to go to that one. You should know that word now. And maypole dancing in the countryside, yes, it's real. So now we're going to learn how to start casual conversations, greet people, and use friendly small talk with British locals. Let's say you're in a shop, a cafe, or just walking the street. How do Brits speak casually? Here's some key small talk starters. You alright? Remember, it's not a question about health, it's just a greeting. Lovely weather today, isn't it? Busy today, innit? What to listen for? Polite tone, light humour, often mention the weather. Try using these while ordering coffee or making directions. It helps break the ice and gets locals to open up. So discover how to complain the British way, polite, indirect, and just with the right words to sound respectful. In the UK, complaints are polite, not loud. Don't say, "This is rubbish." Say, "Sorry to bother you, but..." Examples could be like, "Excuse me, I think there's been a mistake." Or, "I'm afraid this isn't quite right." Or could you possibly, is another simple and effective way. Body language also matters. So stay calm, polite, and respectful. Even when you're annoyed, Brits avoid confrontation. Confrontation is the last point, I would say. Suggestions: watch British customer service scenes on YouTube and see how real complaints are handled with manners. Right, so we're going to master the conversations that happen all the time in the shops, in public, transport or waiting lines. If you want to sound like a local, you need to master small talk. In a shop you may say, "Hiya, can I have one of these please?" Or you may say, "Thanks, cheers, ta." All of them words mean thank you, just different ways. That's a bargain. That means this is a cheap deal. In the street or in a cafe, you may say, "Busy day, eh? Can't believe this weather. Queue's massive, innit?" Remember, small talk shows friendliness. It's not always deep or serious. For practice of a task, why don't you write out a dialogue between you and a local in a coffee shop and use real phrases from today's lecture? Learn how to introduce yourself casually or professionally in British English, from coffee meetups to job interviews. In the UK, introductions change depending on where you live. Casually, "Hi, I'm Joe. Nice to meet you. Where are you from? What do you do?" Professionally, you may change how you speak and you may say, "Hello, my name's Sam Roberts. I'm here for the interview. Pleased to meet you. I've been working in education for over 5 years." Here's a top tip. Brits may seem a little shy at first, but once you break the ice with polite talk, conversation flows, and you sometimes can't stop them. Learn how to behave politely and naturally in British society. What to say, what to avoid, and how to avoid awkward moments. Here's how to blend in like a local. Do. So here's all the do's. Say sorry, say it a lot. Cue politely, never push in. Use polite openers. Something like, "Would you mind?" And then whatever you want to say. Do not, don't be loud in public places. Ask about money or income. Complain directly. Always soften it. Tone is everything. Friendly, soft, respectful. So here's a real talking example. What you might want to try and do is Instead of I don't like this, say, it's not really my cup of tea. So you're softening the way that you let somebody down, and this is done a lot in England. These softeners show you understand British culture deeply. So, go beyond London, discover magical, lesser known UK locations where real British culture shines and locals actually speak with you. Let's travel off the tourist trail. Hebden Bridge, Yorkshire, is creative and full of local cafes. Portmeirion in Wales, it looks like Italy, but they sound Welsh. Rye in East Essex is a cobbled street with loads of ancient pubs. Derry, Northern Ireland, local stories, strong culture. Locals in these towns often speak slower and are more open to talk. Perfect for practicing real English. Here's a task for you. Search these towns on YouTube or on Google Images and make a list of your top 3. Understand sarcasm, understatement and wordplay, the keys to getting British jokes and joining in on the fun. You might hear this in Britain, oh brilliant, but they don't sound happy. That's British sarcasm. Types of humour, understatement, Bit chilly today when it's snowing. Here's some sarcasm. That went well when it clearly didn't. Wordplay. Pudding lanes where the fire started. Bit ironic, eh? So the top tip would be watch faces and listen for dry tone. Brits often joke without laughing. You might want to watch a few videos on YouTube. So check out clips from The Office, the UK version, or Fawlty Towers. The top 10 British sarcastic comebacks, or British humour explained, short documentaries. These will help you get more into the culture and the way that we do speak, and you'll see the sarcasm in action. Learn the culture, rules and habits of British society. The practical guide helps you avoid awkward moments. Sound polite and blend in naturally in the UK. Welcome to your essential guide on how to behave in the UK, a list of simple but powerful do's and don'ts. Do say sorry a lot. Queue properly. Stand in line. Never cut in. Brits take queuing seriously, it's sacred. Use polite openers. Would you mind if I? Sorry to bother you, but excuse me, could I just be indirect, say things softly? I'm not sure that's quite right. Instead of that's wrong. It could be better instead of it's terrible. Stay calm, no shouting, keep your tone relaxed even when you're annoyed. Don't be loud in public. Don't talk about money. It seems as impolite to ask about salaries or how much something costs. Don't push in or demand service. Always wait and stay patient, especially in shops or government offices. Don't take sarcasm personally. British people use humour in everyday conversation. It's often dry and ironic. Example of British speech. Not British. This food is bad. British. It's not quite what I expected. Do you see the difference? So we're going to explore lesser known locations in the UK where real British cultures lives. Great spots to practice English, avoid tourists and discover accents, history and charm. Most people know London, Manchester or Edinburgh, but what about the UK's best kept secrets? Hebden Bridge, West Yorkshire. We mentioned these earlier. This creative town is full of artists, writers and quirky shops. Locals are friendly and speak Yorkshire English. Great for hearing regional accents. You'll find cafes where you can strike up real conversations. Portmeirion, North Wales. It's a magical village designed to look like Italy. Welsh accents, coastal views, and very few tourists. Practice English while exploring unique architecture and countryside. Rye, East Essex. A town straight out of a fairy tale. Think cobbled streets, 15th century pubs and antique bookstores. Locals speak softly and love to chat with visitors. Derry, Northern Ireland. Rich in culture, history and storytelling. You'll hear the Irish, English accent and experience a different side of the UK. Derry locals are passionate and love banter. Southend-on-Sea, Essex. Coastal, affordable and full of day trippers from London. Listen to the Eastery accent and experience real UK beach culture. A great mix of British slang, families and everyday life. Why these matter for learners? Because it's less touristy, which means you're going to engage in more real conversations. It's cheaper to visit and easier to meet locals. Great for listening, practice and slower regional speech. Here's a task you can do for fun. Go to YouTube and search walking tour and then the name for each location listed above. Choose 2 places and write down 1 phrase or accent you heard, 1 reason why you'd like to visit, and 1 word or phrase you didn't understand, and then look it up. Travel is one of the best ways to learn a language naturally, and these places help you dive into English, not just observe it. Discover how sarcasm, understatement and irony shape British humour. Learn how to recognise it, use it and respond without getting confused or offended. Let's talk about something very British. Humour. It's dry, clever and often confusing if you're not used to it. Sarcasm. Saying one thing but meaning the opposite, often in a deadpan voice. Example, oh brilliant, when something has gone wrong. Great job, after someone messes up. How to recognize it: you'll hear a flat tone, the face stays serious, and the meaning is opposite of the words. An understatement is downplaying a situation that's actually serious or dramatic. So an example may be, bit cloudy today, isn't it? When really it's snowing. That went all right when it was a total disaster. He's not bad could mean he's amazing. And wordplay and double meanings. Jokes often rely on language itself. Puns, rhymes, or clever phrases. So for example, jokes often rely on language itself. So for an example, it might be, I used a banker, but I lost interest. Interest equals money plus motivation. Watch out for puns, jokes that don't seem funny unless you catch the word twist. And some words are just used in a weird way, and that's why I advise you to watch like YouTube videos. I'm going to suggest a few now, and that helps you pick up on the style, because you might be reading some of this and still it might come across as a textbook type of way of learning. But if you do the whole thing, do the coursework, watch the video, it comes together more for you if you really want to learn. Brits often joke without laughing. You'll hear sarcasm in TV, customer service, or even in the news. Not recognizing humor can make conversation confusing or awkward. Some suggested videos to search on YouTube would be Top 10 British Sarcastic Comebacks, British Humour Explained, BBC Short Documentary, and then clips from The Office, like I mentioned earlier, the UK version, Fawlty Towers, or another really good one, and they're always laughing on here, is Mock of the Week. Some other things you could do is write down 2 sarcastic or understated phrases you've heard in British media or online, and then you could try creating one of your own and then practice saying it with a flat tone. If you're not sure if something was a joke, just smile and say, "Was that sarcasm?" It's a good way to check and shows you're learning. That's it. Humour is the secret code of British communication. Once you get it, the UK starts to make a lot more sense. Learn how to behave naturally in Britain, from polite phrases to cute etiquette. These cultural tips will help you avoid awkward moments. What should you never do in a British queue? Or, how do you say no politely? Some unspoken rules of British society. Say sorry often, even if it's not your fault. Never jump the queue. Don't speak too loudly in public. Let others off the bus or the train before you get on. Avoid deep personal questions early on. Brits value privacy, manners, and subtleness. These small things help you fit in fast.